Oh, did it work? Oh, I think it's working. So sometimes this doesn't show up. This being, what is this program? LibreOffice. Or sometimes just be like, hey, also my camera changed. What's happening? Perfect. Chat. My partner was like, who are you talking to? You, I'm talking to you. You who's listening. Hey, Talk. Hey, Dice. Hey, Cardine. Hey, Gargus. Hey, Deebs. Hey, Speakeasy. Hey, Miss Harmony. Hey, Flair. Hey, John. Hey, Hep. Hey, Jack. Hey, entirely unlovable. That doesn't seem true. LibreOffice is open source. Yeah, I am one of the few people who I think actually likes MS Word. Um, but they're like, "Do you want to pay for it as a subscription?" And I was like, "No, no, I don't. I'll find an alternative." So I did. My forehead. I don't know if that helps. I need to work on my lighting situation. Feel like it could be better. Hey, everybody. How are you doing this fine day? Hey, Dashin. Open office, close stuff. Oh, got you through college because buying Microsoft on a college student budget. Yeah, they do. They Microsoft does have it's like, oh, if you're a college student, you can get our stuff at a discount, which is how I got Windows whatever when I was in college. Um, but yeah, it still wants you to pay money, and LibreOffice is free, not without its bugs. But you know what? I'll take it for the free. I'm gonna make myself a little smaller and do this. So now I have more hand maneuvering room, and also you can see my bat and coffin necklace. Ooh, the real reason. So was it John? I think John brought up halflings, and I wanted to talk about that today. We're just taking questions because last week we had a guest, next week we have a guest. Today, I just want to talk to you. Um, Also, I forget who mentioned it. I do want to bring this up. Someone mentioned it last week on the show. The uh, cartograph, the map building solo RPG, or doesn't have to be solo. I'll put links in chat. Um, as a map building tool in game, and I was curious if people would be interested in doing that for like an stream or two. Like we could all build a map together using its rules because I looked up how it works and it does seem kind of cool. And I feel like that'd be fun exercise for everybody to do. And then we'd have a communal map that anyone can use. It will look terrible because I'm bad at drawing. And I'd also have to figure out because it does do the roll dice on paper thing. And I would have to figure out how to do that digitally. Yes, it's like a map building game. Oh, you just saw the link. Yeah. It can be a solo RPG, but there's also rules for like multiplayer and there's like different rules for like doing it as like a journaling thing or just like doing it to build maps or like a little bit of both. So there's like a game you can play within it where like movement costs resources and you can roll on tables to like gain resources and lose resources and you could end up stopping your map early because you run out of food or whatever, which it seems kind of cool, but I'm not sure I want to do that side of it. But I was curious if people would be interested in that. Local college gave all of its students free keys for Windows and Adobe. Oh, Oh, but the tuition is thousands of dollars, so they better. Yeah, for college tuitions, like that, it costs so much to get a subscription to things that are you want to use while taking your classes. Yeah, they should absolutely just give you those. That's absurd. Has Jack streamed? Oh my gosh, can't talk. Building maps before. I know he did a video about it with his little dungeon dice thing. Somebody says I love cartography. Yeah. I don't love cartography. I'm glad you do, which is why I was curious about this as a game. Because, like, man, yeah, maps. I don't get it. I always feel like I'm doing it wrong, and then I look at what I've done and I go, I did do it wrong. It's like when I'm building houses in The Sims. I'm like, this isn't how. I feel like I'm putting rooms in the wrong places and all these dimensions are off. And then I'll just kind of keep pushing forward to like, no, I'm going to do something. And then I look back at my Sims house and I'm like, I have created a monster and this is absurd. Except when I do it on purpose, like when you make the front door go into the bathroom, that's fun. Just dumb stuff like that. Jack's very first D&D stream on The Escapist was just building maps. Oh, that's cool. Dang, that was a hot minute ago. Okay, well, yeah. Talk's in. Yeah, if that's a thing, I feel like it'd be fun. So I think I might buy that and do that. Okay, well then that was my thing on maps. Oh, and it does work today. Ooh, look at that. I can delete it. So if anybody has questions, feel free to ask because that's all today is. And so help me if nobody has questions. I'll just talk about whatever I want. Which first starting off is halflings because I think John mentioned it. I used to have money, then the escapist taught me the joys of gambling. Oh my gosh, what an absolute dumpster fire. Whew. Yeah. The VOD is probably still up if I scroll. Probably. I don't want to give them 1 second of my view time. So, nope. The, the old place we used to exist in, and I was yeah, exactly. Partners went, She's booing in solidarity, not because my take is bad. Do I have hot takes on halflings? Okay, it's less of a hot take on halfling and more of a hot take, or more of a dislike of how fantasy species are treated. Because like, you have boo, have fun, like gnomes and halflings. It's like, oh, it's just they're just like 3 foot tall people, and like they don't have enough to differentiate them for like one to be the other, except for like a mechanical thing, like, oh, halflings get luck for free and gnomes, I don't know what they get. And I feel like they're not really taken as like an interesting way for like this species to exist, where it's like where you have something like elves are in a lot of ways different than humans, and like how long they live, and there are some like physical differences too, but it's like you have something that's like, but what makes this interesting? And I feel like most games don't address that. They just kind of go, oh, well, gnomes are like wisdom and intelligence, and halflings are dexterity and charisma, and it's like that's it. It's like, all right, whatever. That's kind of how I feel. Yeah, halfling hobbit. I feel like they just don't do anything really usually interesting with them. And that's my hot take is that you just don't. Not my hot take. That's just my take. So you don't do anything cool with them. So. Oh, can we pose the bag of holding question to the room? I am curious. That's a great question, Deebs. I think we should. Also, I think I saw another question, which I'm going to copy and put down here. To go to later. Actually, I like having. Yeah, whatever. I don't want to have too many windows open. Did Tolkien invent them? I think halflings are from Lord of the Rings originally. I'm not 100% sure. Speaking of, I found out the company that bought The Escapist is 5 miles away from me. Wow. Hey, I'm not a cop. You do with that information whatever you want. Gnomes are tinkers. Halflings are all short people that aren't dwarves. Yeah, and then dwarves, where it's like, oh, it's another thing. But yeah, to say like an entire species is tinkerers, I feel like is lame. Like, I don't like that. I don't like it when games like an entire species has this same hobby. That's bad writing. So it's like what makes an orc biologically different than a human can be an interesting subject of like, oh, well, why is skin green? Or like talking about if subterranean races would they or subterranean species would they have like would they a friend of mine really likes doing it with like they have like translucent skin because they're not dealing with the sun. And it's like, oh, well, here's an interesting thing. And like that might be why, like, oh, if you have sensitivity to sun, that could be a cool reason. So like just everybody has the same hobby. Everybody likes mining. That's I don't like that. What bonus do they get in D&D again? I straight up don't remember. Oh, there we go. That's a note for myself that everybody can see. Hobbits are from Lord of the Rings. Halflings from non-copyrighted version. Yeah, but like the first ones. Jesse, how do you handle a character player bleed for heavier stuff happening in game like consequence of? Ooh, Hep, that's a serious question. I'm gonna put that down because that's. I don't think there's a single answer for that, but we can talk about it. D&D loves to take social things, be like, oh yeah, I just want a species that does that. Yeah, it's like that's lame. The equivalent of one climate zone planets. 100% agree, Talk Talk. And I also hate that. I don't like Ice World. Warhammer 40k orcs are sentient fungus. Yes, that is interesting. That's cool. That makes them different on a fundamental level than other Warhammer species. And there are things that you can do with that that are fun to explore and to think about. That's cool. If you're going to make a species, it should have something about them that makes them cool or like a reason to exist in the world. Right. Oh man, I got to check up on YouTube chat. Sorry, YouTube, I've been ignoring you. Uh, hmm? Bye, have fun. Huh? No, it's a great hat. There's a lot of bio funds happening. There's so many. There's Deebs and Incardine and Marith. I bet you'll have fun. We need a fun spirit bomb aimed at my partner and fired off. Oh, don't be racist towards any group, halflings or otherwise. We don't want that here. This is a no racism zone. When did these start getting simulcasted? Hey, Resident Chew. These started getting cast on YouTube and Twitch. Whoa, like last year, 2025, some point. Check it out on chat. Okay, Costas says I'm okay with riding the line of monocultures and monoclimates as long as they get more unique and really out there cultures and planets. If you get real wild with it, sure. Like for example, if you I think it's Starfinder has a species that is like native to gas giants. So like planets that are just gaseous and they are gaseous creatures. Like all right, you know what? If you want to do a planet that's gas, sure, that could be mono climate. Like you're gonna want to change some things within that, but like that's cool. All right, neat. Or if you have a thing like it's a barren moon and people went there because they needed to start there for some reason, like uh, our home planet blew up and we are the 6 million people who managed to escape, and we ran out of fuel and we have to make this floating asteroid work or moon or whatever, and it's just a rocky desert. Okay, like that can be a mono climate, sure. But those are like some big reasons for like, oh, this happened for these reasons. Mars is a dead planet and exists. It sure is, and it does exist. But you got to do something to make it interesting. So there's nothing, as far as we know, nothing lives there. And in order to turn it into something that like we would see as like usable, there would have to be some serious changing. There'd have to be like a bunch of terraforming, um, which would change the planet from being just a desert. Yeah, so like if you had something for a desert planet, what would make it special and what would make it so things could exist there? Kind of like the gas giant, where it's like, oh, the creatures there are also gaseous. Cool. There's things you can do with that. But like most rules, it's never a thing of like you could never do this. But just think real hard about if you want to do it and what makes it cool if you do it. What make it special? It's Dune now. I guess where hobbits were thief adjacent. They see that's another thing is like that a lot of problems with monoculture stuff is like, oh, this entire species is thief adjacent. That is not good. And like when you have something as a monoculture, especially in like, oh, well, they have a dex bonus and dex is all the thief skills. then you're gonna have a lot of people choosing that to play thieves, kind of a thing. Oh yeah, and then Kinder, whatever they are straight up just thieves, and I think they are related to halflings. I'm not big on that, on the D&D lore, so I don't know it. Also, that's the like D&D adjacent thing, like the Dragon Lance or something. But okay, enough about halflings. It is a D&D setting? Okay. They are Dragonlance halflings. Okay. Because Dragonlance had like an official D&D thing, but it's also a book series? I'm not sure. Okay, it is a book series. Okay. So less on halflings. Back in this question that we had in Discord earlier. If you have something in a bag of holding, I have an opinion. I think we were talking about that on the last episode of Ventures Night. This is how Jack ruled it too. But I was saying I would abandon this ruling if someone had a funnier answer. So if you have a bag of holding and it holds up to 500 pounds, and you have your 400-pound brick of platinum in it, and you pull a certain amount of platinum out of it, and let's say you pull 100 pounds out of that 400 pounds of platinum out, does the bag of holding that you are holding change weight? Because the thing in the bag is still mostly in the bag, but part of it is out. The ruling I think of is the amount of the thing that is out of the bag will increase the weight that you are holding by that much. So if you pull 100 pounds out of the bag of a 400-pound item, the bag now weighs 100 pounds. It is weight-based, Talk. I think it has a volume as well, that like you can't put anything in it too big, but its main thing is that it can hold 500 pounds, and if you put more than that in it, it breaks. The bag of holding does not change weight, Zoro. You are correct. But if you pull something, let's say 1/4 of a 400-pound item out of a bag of holding. I have a bag. Hang on. Here we go. My screen clearer. So, like, if this whole thing is 400 pounds and half of, or 1/4 of it is sticking out, when it's fully in here, it weighs nothing. But as it comes out, does it start weighing something? If there's 1/4 of it out, I feel like you should be dealing with 1/4 of the weight. You now have a 100. This now weighs 100 pounds because 100 pounds worth of this object is sticking out of the bag. That's my thought. Because otherwise, you could just be like, well, this is 500 pounds, and I've just got the very corner of it walking around, and now I have oh, I hit a button. Oh, no, I turned off my webcam. Hang on. I'm trying to turn it back on. Uh-oh. No. I turned off my I was using this, and I turned off my webcam. I'm trying to turn it back on. Uh-oh. I might have to close the stream. If I switch back, hang on. Oh, no. Oh, no, it's not updating. What a freeze frame. That's what I get for using the remote for my camera as the prop. All right, I'm going to I have to close the stream. Hang on one second. Oh man, there's so much chat to catch up on now. I have to type a message in Slack. All right. Hey, everybody. I'll be back. YouTube. Just double check going live again because I don't know if it'll do the same thing or not. If I wait. I have one more thing that I can do. Hang on. Wait. If I go to properties and I reset this, deactivate, activate. Nope. It didn't work at all. Bummer. Okay. Hang on. We're going to get there. Together, we're going to make it. Okay, this is weird because it looks like the camera's not turning back on. Because I can't actually select it anymore. Oh, back, baby! Delete my Slack message. There we go. Hey, everybody. I'm here again. I just had to refresh it. I would close it out and refresh it. Then I didn't have to change the thing. Hey, we're safe. All right, let me see what people are thinking. Costa saying, what I'm saying is I'm okay with archetypal culture, species, planets, as long as there are some really distinctive, not necessarily interlocked, unique people living in a unique planet, and they could find that specific universe. Just interpolation probably said. Yeah, I don't think it's 100% bad all the time, but I feel like most of the time it is used as hand wavy and very lazy writing. It can be cool. Just gotta work at it. Weight and volume limit, I believe so. Bag is still the normal weight, but there are 100 pounds outside of it. Yes. So there's... Okay, I haven't learned my lesson, so I'm going to use this again. This is 400 pounds. This is in the bag of holding. There's now 100 pounds worth of it sticking out. Should this now weigh 100 pounds? Is my thought. And my thought is absolutely. But I think there's a funnier answer, and I want to know what it is. Because saying, I'm going to say it would weigh anything that you've pulled out of the bag. Exactly. Because if not, this was what I was saying before. If not, what I can do is, if any amount is in here is safe, you know what I do? I make a 495-pound gigantic sword, and I put a bag of holding on the pommel, and then I use it like a freaking 5-pound nothing. And it would do devastating damage because it's basically 500 pounds, but it weighs only the amount of the bag of holding, which I believe is 5 pounds. It's a big-ass sword. What a freeze frame indeed. Yeah, that was really good. Much supports exposed. Yeah. That's one of the main reasons I don't use a webcam. It's fair. I mean, if I didn't use the literal remote for it and hit the power button, I would have been fine. But I absolutely did. Gollum puts a bag over his finger. Does it become weightless? Right. That's why you got to have the amount out of the bag. I think the amount out of the bag has to be weight. It's top heavy, so the bag will tip over. I mean, if you're just setting it on the ground, sure. But if you just put a bag the big 500-pound sword idea, you put the bag on the end of the pommel and you just tie it off. Just don't set it down. And even if you do set it down, like, it's still going to stay on there. Incarnate says the funnier answer is if you get it far enough out, you drop it and it falls to the ground, landing back in the bag every time. It's going to be really hard to move such a heavy and small thing. There has to be some kind of market for robust hardness to distribute the load more evenly. Oh, yeah. Tie a small balloon around the bag. The safest ruling is that it is not weightless until it is fully in the bag. Oh, so like so Meredith D, you're saying if any amount of it is peeking out, the bag now weighs the full amount of the item sticking out. So if this much of the 400-pound platinum brick gets exposed, the bag now, just instantly weighs 400 pounds. I kind of like that. You do basically make like an orbital strike weapon, which, all right, kind of cool. Put foot in the bag, lift the bag. Instant Murchison lifting yourself into the air, pulling your hair. Oh. Costa saying, my reasoning for it not weighing anything is that the bag of holding is a magical item. Magical items are supposed to be convenient/luxury items. It's not fair. Let's be fair. Wizards like to be lazy. So why would a non-physical fit person want to create a bag that lets him circumvent having to lift heavy? Okay, but Costas, that means that I can create a 500-pound sword, put a bag of holding on the hilt, and it is now a 5-pound sword that is devastating. How long? I have like a quarter-mile long sword. I don't know exactly how long that sword could be. I guess swinging it would still only be 5 pounds, but you'd have so much surface area. You just have a portable wall you could set up anywhere. Like a literal wall. You could say that it's partially in long enough, structure becomes more brittle or weaker. To outside just breaks on its own. I guess you could, but that's a lot of work to figure out how much is out, and you would need some exact numbers for your players to play with and that you would be okay with and that they might also find a way to circumvent. Deep says, okay, let's go with weights. Nothing till it's fully out of the bag. You make 499-pound sword that you could put a bag on the pommel. Cool. The sword weighs nothing, thus worthless as a weapon. It's not worthless as a weapon. It doesn't weigh anything, but it is still as sharp as a sword. So while it wouldn't work as much for like a club, a knife that weighs almost nothing is still a knife. Like, if you somehow, I guess if you had a knife in the vacuum of space, the knife would still cut. So you have Sephiroth's sword that you can just kind of swing around like this, and that will still cut like a sword. If it was like a strength-based weapon, like a club, all right, that would be harder. Now it would only have the momentum of how much you are moving. Or what would be really funny, actually, no, this still works as a club. You put it on someone, and then you just pull the bag off, and then they get crushed by a 500-pound block. You just have a giant fly swatter that weighs 500 pounds, and all you do is kind of put the big part, the fly swatter part, over someone a little bit, and they just pull the bag off, and it will crush them. Sounds pretty good to me. Scalpels are still devastating and don't weigh much. Yeah, like that sharpness would be the thing. Because, yeah, you wouldn't be able to do much because of the weight, but, like, it is still sharp. I don't know why people don't combine bag of holding with sheaths of concealment for longer weapons. I also don't know why. You could swing it, but it'd probably rip your arm off. Why? It doesn't have. If it is in the bag of holding and an item in the bag of holding has no weight, then why would it rip your? It's some Looney Tunes shit. It is. Hold this, pull the bag of holding off, and then they get crushed beneath it. Yeah, exactly. It, Discordia, yeah, the idea of using a bag of holding to disguise an extremely long sword, I absolutely love that idea, and I need to use it. I think I would use that with a flail, where you just like keep pulling a like 20-foot long chain out of it, and then there's a spiked ball at the end. YouTube, I have ignored you for so long. I'm sorry. Now I have to look at what you wrote. Well, I get overwhelmed by Twitch. Ship of Theseus problem? Yeah, kind of. Older edition's bag of holding had funny rules about putting anything sharp and unsheathed into it. It's storage. Oh man, that should be a thing. If you put something sharp in there, some hard corners. Oof. Zorro, yes, I believe it is that the item does not change weight. It is that the bag is a portal to another dimension, and thus it feels weightless because it is leaving the plane of existence in which it has weight. So it's just a portable hole with the drawstring. All right, still reading. If the way the item is resting on the bag, it should still be weightless. So a really heavy thing, you could unwrap them and pull them out. Okay, but so you feel, Andy, you feel like, okay, so you've got the giant, the 20-foot long sword that weighs basically nothing because the hilt has a bag of holding on it. You're in that camp. Because I'm not against either ruling. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to rule this. I think there's comedy potential either way. And if we think of fun third and fourth ways that this could work. Isn't the bag of holding a portal? Yes, it is a portal. I say no, says Gwendolyn Art. The bag has to have a layer of magical influence around its opening so you can put and remove things. So, Gwendolyn, you think that it would weigh... Object weight is only felt when the object is fully in or out. So you think... So you also stand with... you could have 499 pounds of wall sticking out of this cute bear bag, and it would just, you can just wave it around like it's nothing. Just 499 pounds moving like this. I would destroy everything. My ceiling's gone, my wall, this window. And overpower exploit in Divinity Original Sin is to overload a container, then throw it at people for 1,000 damage. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. That's okay, but Andy, that is exactly if things weigh nothing until completely out of bag. That's exactly the kind of shit you could pull. Because you could do, oh man, oh no. Depending on how it works, you could actually put like a rubber band right here, and you just hold, you like slingshot it. You just go, ready, and you like, this would have to stay open, then you go, huh, and kind of give it like an inside out push, and then it just like, you just launch thing out right in front of you. It's 500 pounds. It's not going to go very far, but all you need to do is quickly get it out, and then it goes whoop. Fill a bag with water. Flipping it over won't empty it. I don't remember. We'll have to look it up. If the bag of holding has rules on if you turn it upside down, if stuff falls out of it. My thought is, this is how I use the bag of holding, or the pouch of many things or whatever it's called in Pathfinder or any game, is just you if you reach in and think about the thing you want, you'll grab it. If you turn it over, stuff will fall out at random, or it'll all kind of dump out at once. That's how I use it. Does it have gravity inside? Probably not. If everything's weightless, it makes me think that it is in a pocket dimension with no gravity. Or maybe like extremely light gravity. Or maybe it does have gravity. It's just in another dimension, so you just don't feel the weight. I don't think they fully answered that one. Deep saying, I would think because it's a portal to another dimension, space is not magic. Weightless spell that you'd feel the weight of the exposed portion. Yeah, see, that's kind of how I feel. Physics just gives up at that point. Put railgun arms outside the bag. Let's turn this into a project. I think we should. I do think I do think if things weighed nothing until fully removed from the bag, trying any shenanigans like giant sword would exert force inside the bag and risk going over its limits, causing it to rip. Interesting. So if you have giant thing outside and you're using it, the amount of leverage, like if you have this out and you hit something, so now you're saying the leverage that's in the bag could potentially rip it. That's interesting. That's not math I want to do, though. So I wouldn't rule that, but I think that's a cool way to think about it, that you do have to worry about the external effects of things that are still partially inside the bag affecting the inside of the bag. Because it does have dimensions, so it does have like a side that can get hit and pierced. Given that line of thought, the bag isn't giving weightlessness at all, which means the item weight, as much as they weigh, they're just not holding them. You're holding the bag, so picking them up, the bag is supporting its entire weight. That's true. Deep saying, yeah, I only think the 499-pound sword only needs 1 pound of force to destroy the bag. All right. In that regard, then you would have 500-pound giant sword only stick out 250 pounds of it. Still comically large sword, and now needs a large amount of weight to affect the portion of the sword inside the bag and have a negative effect on the inside of the bag. And because you know you're only using half of the sword, the bottom half of the tang is dull. It's protected. It's whatever. So you're not risking like cutting things. You know you're only using half of the sword as a blade. So it's just an insane amount of blade, hilt, insane amount of tang dulled out and like wrapped in bubble wrap. I don't know, whatever you want to use to protect it. And then it would take 250 pounds of force to break it. Normal swords are usually lighter than a bag of holding, says Zoro. That is correct. Swords are not very heavy because when you're swinging them around, it's a lot of work, even if they're not that heavy. Yeah, like 3 pounds is a good sword weight. Even like super big swords aren't that heavy. I mean, like anime swords are, but not like most real swords. Pouch of Many Things is my favorite kangaroo philosophy book. KOTDT. What's KOTDT? It says Red Book. Rook had an interesting look at Bag of Holding, where one type would open up into a vast empty plane You could walk from one bag to another if you knew the directions. Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that. It's like a portal. Custos with a highlight missing. I'm thinking about the logistics of this. You'd have to attach the bag to the end of the sword, so most of the outside of it, and hoping it doesn't come off at any point, and then keep swinging it. I was thinking more about the Lido technique minus the rehearsing part because your arm has been ripped off your body by the sudden pull. But I still don't think it would rip your arm off because again, it is if this is how it is working, it is essentially weightless. So like it only has the amount of force you're putting behind it. And then is also still subject to drag. Even though it technically doesn't weigh anything, it is still a solid object, so drag should slow it down some, just from it existing where oxygen and atmosphere exists. Knights of the Dinner Table. Got it. That's fun. I like that idea of it being a walkable hole, but only if you know like the directions. I think that's really neat. I've played with engineers before. This would bring the campaign to an instant halt. If you still play with some of your engineer friends, please ask them this question. I would be very curious what an engineer would say. Also, if there are any engineers in chat, feel free to share your credentials. To clarify, says Incarnate, if you stick your hand in the bag and try to pick something up, you have to be able to support the entire weight of that object, even remove it from the bag. Is that what it says in rules? Because I've never done that. But I feel like that could be fun. Right, so the piece of the bag stuff starts falling out. If you pierce the bag, no, the bag like it collapses in on itself and is destroyed and you lose everything in it. Piercing a bag is very bad. You lose everything in it. Usually big weapons don't make more damage because of overall mass. Which mass is part of that, but even just if you have scalpel, it can only cut so much skin. And if you have 20-foot long scalpel, it can cut much more skin. Also, okay, let's say it only does a normal spear's damage. Your spear sticking out of a bag of holding is only going to do your D8 damage or whatever. Okay, fair. But you could make a functional 30-foot long spear. That's some serious reach. Normal reach is only 5 feet. You got a real thing. And at that point, you could just have like a squeeze release for the bag and just be like, we're in a hallway. All right, let me put it in. I'll choke it down. And now I've just got like normal spear size. Oh, we're out in the open. All right, let me just pull freaking 25 more feet of this spear out of here. Ooh. So yeah, even if it doesn't do more damage, just the reach is pretty useful. It's weightless. It wouldn't matter how much you expose. It'd still need the 1 pound, tear the bag. That I do agree with you, Deeps. I do think if you have, and maybe not exactly 1 pound, but like roughly, I do feel like that is, if you have that much exposed, that you are making it that much easier to rip the inside. Oh, arm falling off and ripping off is when you swing the sword, the risk of the bag falling off. Oh, yeah. If the bag falls off, you're taking instantly holding 500 pounds of sword, and it is going to either rip your arm off or pull you to the ground and crush your hands. Heaven forbid you're swinging it above your head when it falls off, and then it just falls on you. Get squished. Oh, Meredith has an engineering degree. Ooh. Now we have to listen extra carefully to Meredith's opinion. Because you're an engineer. I make fart jokes on the internet and edit videos. So I just like coming up with dumb ideas and making jokes about them. How they might actually work is a little outside my realm most of the time. Not to be able to let things out of the bag of holding would be how I would treat it if I was making the ruling. I think that's a really interesting way to do it. And I've never done it that way. But I think that's cool. And I kind of want to try it. What I also think would be really interesting is if we made all of these, like if you have bags of holding that work differently, like different brands of bags of holding, where one brand is whatever's outside the bag of holding weighs that amount, and another brand where it is if any part of it is in it, then it is essentially weightless, and another brand that's cheaper that you have to be able to lift the item in order to pull it out because it is weightless, but your force upon it is not. So if it's a 400-pound thing and you just want to reach in and grab it, you have to be able to lift 400 pounds. Honestly, that is my favorite so far, is having them different brands. Pessimist, the bag of holding is half empty. Optimist, the bag of holding is half full. Engineer, looks like we have twice as much bag as we need here. Deep says DMs in my experience tend to play fast and loose with bags of holding, and I don't think they've ever seen it rule. Don't think I've ever seen it ruled that you need to be able to have the strength to pull it out of the bag. But I find that so interesting. Now we're back on Looney Tunes shit. Oh, absolutely. Anytime I can be on that Looney Tunes shit, I'm on it. I feel like the momentum and the torque would become part of the discussion. Then the evening is done for the DM. Yeah, your talk is probably. Which now leads me to exposed portion, says Deebs, of the object is weightless until fully removed because it's funnier. Yeah. All right. That name is a collection of letters. 4817. And I do not know how to even attempt to say that. But thanks for the $5 on YouTube. It says, do you see any mechanical point in having mitigation layers like AC damage reduction and hit points, or are they redundant and just for flavor? Ooh, we're getting to that question next. I'm putting it right here. Thank you so much, because I have opinions on that. I think that is a great question, honestly. Squirtle Squad, hey, do you find if you give your players an absolutely busted item, but it is one-time use, do they tend to use it or hoard it like a portion of the video game? Squirtle, I've never given them a super busted one-time use item. If I give my players a busted item, I make sure it is forever useful, and then I want it to be so powerful that they fear using it or fear someone taking it from them. I've done that. That's really fun. I would probably do a one-time use, but I don't know how they would take it. Now I gotta try it. I gotta give players an incredibly powerful item that's one-time use and see what they do with it. That sounds fun. Oh, Meredith D says, not a mechanical engineering degree. I do my best to not zap myself or others. So, wait, like electrician, okay. That is engineering. And I'm not an engineering doctor, so I can't tell you what the difference between electrical engineering and weight engineering is, because I don't even know what the correct word for the weight engineering engineer is. But how much overlap is there? Do you honestly, is this a thing of like, oh no, we at engineering school, we understand the basics of all engineering is built off of electrical and otherwise? Or is it like, no, that's not my realm? I'm very curious. Actually thinking that a blade without weight wouldn't cut anything unless it was infinitely sharp. It doesn't have to be infinitely sharp because even if it weighs nothing, like the way like this weighs literally nothing. Let's just say it doesn't need to weigh anything because it has, when I move it, it has force behind it. So like it will cut, even though it doesn't weigh anything. It is being pushed into something. So it should still cut, I think, because if you are in space and you have a scalpel and you slash it across someone's spacesuit, you have created a hole in their spacesuit. It is weightless, but you were applying force. So I still think it would cut. For an Apple brand, you need to pay for a subscription. Oh, that would be great. You have to update your bag of holding. They start paywalling features. Arcane capitalism. Yeah, Costas. It's arcane capitalism. We can move for bags of holding. There is as much room for debate on those as there is room in the bag of holding. That's right. There's 500 pounds worth of debate. I thought you were saying that dyslexia was kicking in. And no, that name is just a collection of letters. Yeah. No. That is... The dyslexia is very strong. Don't get me wrong. However, that name is a collection of letters. What if you play a monk that specializes in martial art style of capturing enemy weapons with a bag of holding called the Dragon Swallow? That sounds incredible. I love that. You have a bag and your whole thing is like put the bag around their weapon and then disarm them and then hold. Now their weapon is lost in a bag of holding. Costos, that sounds like a class I want to play. That sounds incredible. They do teach the basics of engineering. Lots of stuff in engineering school. Okay. So you do have like some non-electrical engineering knowledge to apply here. Even electrical engineering knowledge is probably still partially good in this. Again, I am not an engineer. I don't know what you know. Thanks for the next monk idea for my campaign. Heck yeah. That'd be really good as an NPC or an enemy as well, because now you have someone that stole their weapon, and then if they can run away, like they now have a quest of like, do we want to fight this guy again to get our weapon back, or just buy a new sword, dude? It's not worth it. We're not going to spend a campaign hunting this stupid guy down just for him to take your next weapon too. I actually think I'm with Deebs now. Force equals mass acceleration. It has no mass. Okay, so it's just acceleration then. So if you have mass times acceleration, so let's say 0, but 0 times... No, but that's not right. Because, again, if you have a scalpel in space, in a weightless environment, it would still cut. But that is... Would that... Because it has mass. Okay, so I feel like it would have technically, just like a scalpel in space has mass, the portion of the sword sticking out of the bag of holding, while weightless, would still have mass. Because it is an object. Oh no, Discordia says theoretically something with no mass could accelerate infinitely. That's how you make magic warp drive. So we move at the speed of light. So you put a rocket, you put some sort of engine sticking partially out of a bag of holding. It is technically weightless. Infinite speed. We were trying to build weapons. Discordia over here building galaxy-spanning rocket ships. Physics don't apply because it's magic. I disagree. I think physics do apply. We just have to figure out how. Because, like, fire, if you make a magical fire, it still burns things. So, like, it has the actual properties of fire despite being magic. Magic acid, magic water. Magic food still has calories. Like, there is real world things that are applied to these things that are magical. Physics are magic. That's how you make the very movable rod or whatever it's called. Yeah, the rod that does not have drag. It just goes until something stops it. Gravity is relative. Mass is fixed value. The part of the object in the bag of holding is subject to gravity of the bag, and what's outside of the bag is affected by normal gravity. So from your POV, relatively, the only weight being applied is outside the bag. Oh no, but if that's true, then that means you don't have the leverage issue of, like, if you have 499 pounds of a 500-pound thing out of a bag and you're applying leverage, then it wouldn't take 1 pound of force to break the bag, because technically the inside of the bag would have no whatever you just said. It's not subject to gravity. Or, yeah, if gravity is relative. Oh, man. First, to figure out if weightless or massless. Those are two different things. Right. I think that's my point, Talk, is that they are weightless, not massless. It does not lose its mass. In fact, it does not lose its mass because you have to, or it's technically it doesn't lose its weight either, because those are still used to calculate the amount the bag can hold. You cannot go over a certain amount of weight or mass. So the object does still have mass. So it would still cut. That's why I said if you want to apply physics, something that is weightless in gravity, therefore has no mass. Oh, okay. It technically means you can't tip over a bag of holding onto the floor either. That's the important thing. Can you accidentally spill a bag of holding? Okay, back to YouTube. Electrical engineering is a lot harder for most people than mechanical or civil. Oh, mechanical and civil. Okay, those were the things. Because electricity, even the units are kind of counterintuitive until you get used to them. I believe it. It sounds incredibly complicated. It's part of why I didn't go into that. Electrician, tradesman who installs electrical circuits, not necessarily an engineer, though more aware of electrical theory than layman, says Exlorth Goldex. Mechanical engineering, says name I can't pronounce, is generally applying math to concepts that your brain already has a grasp of. Sparkies unite. The entirety of Brandi Sanderson's Cosmere is what if magic, but it had consistent through laws to be physics. I like that. Quantum mechanically, an object with zero mass cannot exert any force. Simplest way to a bag of holding to work would be to turn off gravity. Otherwise, it would alter the way of physical laws. Yeah, it's kind of what I'm thinking. Ever sew two bags of holding together? And social engineering. It's a good one, Discordia. That's my favorite engineering. You ever so? Oh yeah, the Grinderbin's perpetual motion black hole engine for the Mecha Baba Yaga hut. Rest in peace. Yeah. Powered by a Mobius strip. Reason your house gets power is because imaginary mud numbers. We need to work on is generating additional virtual mass so that weapons hit things harder. Oh, no. Oh, Discordia, no. Oh, you just... Oh, no. Now you gave me another angle to think about how to change how... Oh, okay, so you have like a ring sword? Like one of those swords that has the rings on the back half? And they add, like, mass. But, like... Are the rings part of the sword? What if you put the sword in without the rings and then you pull the big ring side out and now you have a weightless but not massless sword, and then you add you have carabiners that weigh a lot and you add those to it, and now you have the mass of those carabiners to add to the sword, but you're still not dealing with the sword. Or because you added them to the sword, are they now part of the sword and thus don't weigh anything? Fuck. Have you seen? Hang on. Ring swords. Did anyone see? No one's watched. Yeah, Into the Badlands. I do need to lie down. Yeah. This is more engineering than my brain generally does. You Okay, so let me start this slow. You have a sword. You just have a scimitar. Okay. And then you bore a hole in the back of the scimitar. Like several holes. Wushu swords. Yeah. That might be it. Hang on. I'm just going to get a picture. No. It doesn't come up with wushu sword. Hang on. Ringed sword. Or sword. If you spell it wrong. Hang on. We're doing visual aids here. It's a shitty picture, but fine. I'll use this one. Copy image, and I can just paste it here, right? Boom. Okay, so we have this ring. So, like, you could see the back of this. There's holes in the back of this sword. Dao. A Dao sword? Maybe. I'm trying to get a better picture. Okay, not all Dao swords have rings, though. A Podao? Maybe? Technically doesn't have rings. Okay. Yeah, that's basically the sword I have up here. Okay, so you have these rings. You have holes that you've bored in the back of the sword. Gelden Yedek, I'm so sorry. I haven't gotten to your super chat yet. I'm really on these swords. We'll get to it. Okay, so you have these rings, you have these holes bored into the sword. So you put this sword in your bag of holding, and then you add rings to it after it's partially out of the bag. Because you added rings to the sword, are they now part of the sword and thus are weightless? Or does the sword now weigh the amount of the ring? Junhao Hondao? Let me look it up. I'm trying to find a better. Ah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, oh, that seems fake. I don't think that's a real picture. I think that's some AI art. Okay, this is a better picture. Copy image. There we go. So you can see the little rings hanging off of it. I think my final answer for myself is that the item in the bags aren't weightless, just the weight is somewhere else. Incarnadine, I like that, but now if you pull part of the item out, how much does the bag you are holding weigh? If you pull this much of your 400-pound, if you pull half of your 400-pound item out of the bag of holding, how much does the bag weigh? That's where the whole thing came from. I can't believe we have been talking about this for at least an hour. I feel like there were two people that showed up to RPG Help Desk today. There were people that heard this question, thought it was dumb, and immediately left. And everybody who's still here, that is probably just incredibly invested. This don't think it was a ton of overlap. Lost but where? I think the astral plane, but I'm not entirely sure. Axeman is where they get lost. Because I think it's a pocket, it's a portal to a section of the astral plane. But I guess it's a bag in the astral plane because like it still has sides there because it can rupture. The bag always weighs the same. All right, so you have the 30-foot spear that weighs only 5 pounds because the bag only weighs 5 pounds. That's another thing is that if it was, even though could be weightless, massless, but the bag, it's attached to the bag weighs 5 pounds, so it does have weight. The weight of the bag. On your ring sword thing, your suggestion is to make a sword weightless via the bag of holding shenanigans, then add weight to it with rings as an effective weapon. I mean, that's just a sword with extra steps. I mean, possibly. I was just thinking about the solving for mass issue of adding more mass to it while still having like a ridiculous thing. Or if that like it needed mass. Also, I was curious, like Ship of Theseus, if you add something to a weapon, does that become part of the weapon? If you put a carabiner on a hole in the sword that is sticking out of the bag of holding, did you just add the weight of the carabiner to the limit of the bag of holding? Or is that external and it was not there before and thus it is external weight? That's a good question. I am inclined to say no. I don't know which part you're saying no to, though. If you're trying to hold the item with the bag, you'll fail. The bag never contains the item directly. Explain. I don't understand that. Because if you have, like, if you have something that's this long and you pull this much out of the bag, like, you can interact with this much of it. Like, this is physical. It's here. Like, I can't get this part right now, but, like, this is here. Do rings become part of the sword? As much weight the Sims. Tune in next time. Yeah, that's where we'll leave it. We're a cliffhanger. If all you're interested in is to have even 0.0001 pounds of weight, then you need then all you really need is keep the bag closed at the edge of the weapon, swing it from the other side. That gives you 5 pounds of weight that you need for the cut. However, usually weapons are more dangerous because it's bigger and heavier. Yeah, I feel like the weight of the bag is 5 pounds, so you've got at minimum 5 pounds of weight because it's attached to the bag. The whole thing weighs 5 pounds. I replaced every letter in my book with words from other books. I call it the ship of thesaurus. Deshin, that's funny. I like that joke. Is a chain a single item or a series of links? Fuck. Discordia, we need to get to your level. You are on another level today. First, you're building infinite rocket ships. Not even rocket ships, just infinite speed ships. Then you got the chain question. Indundum. But you can't interact with the other person because it's in the bag. Right, you can't interact with the other portion that's in the bag. Just the portion that's out of the bag. If you stick your hand in the bag and grab something, you'll have to support the whole weight of the item to take it out. But the skin of the bag never interacts with the object itself, so you can't only hold the bag to support the item. Interesting. Okay. Okay. So what you're saying is you have your bag, and because it's a bag, it's floppy. So like if I had this sticking out of it, it wouldn't have the rigidity of this, of like I'm holding the bag, but I can still kind of use this because it would still be the bag. So it would just be floppy like this. I think that's what you're saying, which does make sense, but that only changes what I'm thinking, because now rather than a very long, well, actually, so you have the spear still works because you're just holding the bag and the spear two-handed. So like, actually that still works perfectly fine. And now this is just retractable. Also, you know what's a great floppy weapon? A flail. You just get 20 feet of chain with a ball at the end out of it. And yeah, this doesn't need to be sturdy because that's how flail work. You could just do this. Woo! So sword would be less effective, but sword could still be effective because even if this is the handle, you're still holding it like this. Like, so it would have to be two-handed. Flails have a solid handle. Technically, you are correct. Flails do have a solid handle, but they don't have to. A ball on the end of a chain is still very effective. I don't know if it's technically called a flail. You might have, I think it's called, I forget what it's called. There's also a weapon that's literally just a padlock that you put on a chain and hit someone with it. So you could essentially do that because then you don't have this thing. But even if you just have, but the bag isn't exerting force on the chain. Okay, so that just means you have to grab the chain and swing it around. So this does mean you're two-handing whatever this weapon is. Because you'd have to have one hand on the bag and one hand on some portion of the thing out of the bag. But the spear still works. The flail would still work. Also, I feel like even if you just held the bag and you had a chain coming out, if you do this, you are still moving the chain. So, like, it's still gonna move. Granted, it's gonna take a lot of doing this to get 20 foot of chain moving, so that's not really effective. Just more chain comes out of the bag. But if you close the bag, then only the set amount of chain that can come out of the bag will come out of the bag. And then you're good. And that could be with your hand, or you tie a nice little bow on the end of it. And now no more chain can come out. Can you close the bag holding with something else out? I don't know why you couldn't. Like, you'd have to tie it. Maybe it would sever it. Well, then maybe you just kind of hold it like this, and you'd still have to two-hand it, but it would still work. So you have your spear, and it's just this is your backhand, this is your front hand. And now you're just doing this. Josh is saying, oh, wait, nope. Talk first. Says that reminds me of a thing from fantasy setting. The Infinite Library contains rows and rows of identical rooms, all full with identical book. Oh, identical books. These books contain the same amount of letters in every possible order. So most contain only gibberish, but very few contain all possible knowledge. And there's one book, the Index, that has a list of all the other books that contain knowledge. The quest is find the index. It's kind of cool. That would blow my mind, but it's really neat. Josh saying if you have a 100-pound solid metal spear, keep just the tip of it out. It's be 5 pounds, plus the bag's 5 pounds. If you throw 10 pounds up with as much force as you can when it starts coming out, the rest of the contents fly out of the bag. It now gains 20 times the amount of gravity behind it from the 10-pound throw. Dash, and I am not a math doctor. I can't confirm or deny if that's how those numbers would work. But I like where your head's at. I think if you get something partially out of the bag and let go, the item either falls back into the bag or tears the bag. Okay. So that's fair. So that's why you're two-handing your 30-foot-long spear. One hand is on the bag, one hand is on the shaft. And you just get 30 foot of spear pole out of it. Start poking, which two-handed. Still effective. Same with the flail. The flail, actually, though, you can't have, because it would take so much work to get 20 feet of chain swinging. That actually becomes not great. However, rope doesn't weigh that much. You could have the world's greatest grappling hook. So you have your insane amount of chain rope, or your insane amount of rope in your bag of holding. Hang on. We're gonna go somewhere with this. So you put all this rope in your bag of holding. You got like 6,000 feet of rope in here. And you have a grappling hook on the end of this, right? And you go and throw it. Now, if we're talking about that it would pull things out of here without weight, because it is essentially weightless, you could throw an incredibly far distance. Or just hook it up to a very powerful crossbow and shoot it, and then you still have, 1,000 feet of rope coming out of your bag of holding. It's a good grappling hook. Why have I never made that? Brings us back to the original question: what does the spear / chain weigh? That's true. Because the answer is, if it weighs nothing, this is the whole 30-foot long spear only works if it weighs nothing, so long as part of it is the bag of holding. If the ruling is it weighs however much is out of the bag, you're just dealing with a 30-foot long spear with all the problems of a 30-foot long spear. So this is only if it is weightless. And that is also the object is weightless. Technically, it would weigh 5 pounds because that's a bag of holding. Bag doesn't have to support them. As part of the process, I have to work for the come some kind of reasonable bullshit. I think on some unravels mid-flight. They're just creating a significant drag. Some time goes on, it'll slow down incrementally faster. Yes, it will eventually slow down, I do think, because it is still dealing with drag. But you can still create a very, very good grappling hook with that. So the entire conversation, I'm wondering, what is bag of holding? What is a bag of holding like? How is the theory of physical just depending on plane? Can you turn a bag of holding inside out? I think you can turn a bag of holding inside out, and when you do, everything in it will fall out. But I think that's more of a house rule. Wouldn't the bag close and cut the rope, though? I mean, just don't close the bag. Like, you have your thing, and you pull it out, and you whee, and you're just holding the bag. Just keep it open, and then just keeps unspooling chain or rope, whatever you have in there. I don't know why I want this grappling hook to have chain. I guess if you got 500 pounds of it, and it's going to weigh essentially nothing, why not go with the sturdier thing? Chain seems sturdier than rope, I think. Also, happy Pride Month, everybody. The thing I was using for rope is these bisexual flag colored shoelaces. But, like, they're mostly just pink. It's like they're the ends. It's like, oh, it's blue, it's purple, it's pink for the rest of the shoelace until it becomes purple and pink again real fast. So, I don't know who dyed it, but happy Pride! The rules say everything would fall out and it wouldn't work in. Oh, interesting. The bag is just a functioning portal. The items in the bag are just suspended in null space in the astral plane, not influenced by gravity. Imagine a portal, but you have a room in the middle of space with items just hanging there, no gravity. The bag's portal also counters the pressure of the differential between the two sides. I mean, that sounds like a fun ruling. There's the, well, why, but they could affect it. I mean, that's ultimately it. The rules do not state it, so that's something you have to decide for yourself. I like that idea of they do not affect the thing. I like Deebs' idea of the amount of pressure applied to the outside applies to the inside equally. So, you know, I think either works. Oh, struggling to keep my eyes open. Dang, you came up with all those ideas while you were struggling to stay awake? Discordia, your mind is too powerful. Keep it up. Also, good night. Sleep well. Thank you for joining us for as long as you did. The weight limit on what can go inside the bag implies that there is gravity weight inside the bag. That's kind of what I think. That 500 pounds, if it was just surface area, then sure, it could be weightless in there. Bye, Gildan. Oh, no, I didn't get to your question. Okay, well, come back to the VOD, and I will answer your question before I leave. So I'll see you at the VOD. Does that sound good? Because you super chatted. And I want to make sure that I get to it. All right. Well, goodbye live right now. And in the future, wait for it. Hey, Gildan Yedick. Welcome back. I don't know what timestamp this is. Maybe you noted at what time you left, and you'll apply that knowledge to right now to figure out where this spot is. Wait, but I'm not even getting your question yet because we haven't finished this. I always, sometimes when I don't have a guest, I come on here and I'm like, you know, what if no one has enough questions to fill the time? What if I'm, you know, just kind of sitting here twiddling my thumbs? And then sometimes we have one question about a bag of holding that we've spent an hour and a half on and don't really have an answer. We just have ways that you could make it work depending on what kind of stupid you want your players to have access to. which, you know what, I think is kind of beautiful. Gravity Circuit's free for 2 weeks? Oh, I think I got Gravity Circuit. Is that it's like a Mega Man? Yeah. On the subject of gravity and not paying for things. This we talked about the last time we had 2-hour bag of holding discussion. I don't even remember what the last we did talk about it. I don't remember why we were talking about the bag of holding for 2 hours last time. We discussed the bag of holding. Isn't that the containing field inside is the astral plane? Otherwise, we just go flying out into infinity. You'd have to read the rules. But also, even if it's in the astral plane, it does have dimensions. So if it is in the astral plane, it is a set amount of something in the astral planes because it has an interior that can get pierced. So it has walls. The best kind of answers, honestly. It's a pocket dimension held inside the astral plane. To be fair, you could say anything about how it works for your own rules. Nothing about the is defined by dimensions and other than dimensions and weight limits. Yeah, which is why I think the answer is different brands. Fart bag of holding. If you know, you know. I do not know. I'm not sure I want to know, honestly. Last I believe was Italian question about opening the bag of holding. Oh, right. If you open a bag of holding underwater. And we got into storing water in the bag of holding, and it was a whole thing. Yeah. Oh my gosh. What a good time. What a dumb use of my time, and I'm so happy about it. Oh, you bought the cheapo bag of holding? It's not strong enough to pull Dory out myself. Help me. Oh, that's really funny. I like that. Is air an object? Let's go. Damn Italian. Oh my gosh. Okay, I think we've exhausted this. I think we have multiple understandable, believable, and usable answers that you can use either in tandem with one another, with being like different brands of bags, or you just pick your favorite and that's how it works. How much air would bite up to 500 pounds of air? I think the mass would. That's a great question. I don't know. Grappling hook bag of holding, tied off the end to a bolt. Crossbow fires up to 200 to 650 yards straight up. Blinka Castle wall. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, Deshin. I don't know why I haven't made the bag of holding grappling hook before. That's a good freaking item. LMAO fart bag. Couldn't afford the brand name whoopee cushion. Mr. Welch says, I filled my bag of holding completely with dirt. Every time we came across a pit trap, we just filled it in. That's fucking funny. Would it work even better to use expanding foam that like hardens, so you like pour it in and then it's lighter so you can have more. It's like less dense than dirt, so you can have more of it. And you just expanding foam your pit holes full and then just walk over them. Mr. Welch, that's funny. That's a really, really good idea. We've hit a point where we can't go anywhere without going in circles. Yeah. We've already hit infinite speed. Where else can we go? Talk Talk says, not a question. Just wanted to say, get the Yankee Astral Plane Pirates. Cool as fuck. I believe you. I don't know much about like official D&D lore, and I really don't know much about Gith Yankee. But that sounds really cool. Hey, Dashin answering a question. 6,666 cubic feet of air under normal pressure. Under normal pressure, what's the pressure in the astral plane? Would that change the pressure? Thus changing the answer? Don't answer that. Don't answer it. Oh my gosh. Best use we ever had, says Mr. Welch, of the bag of holding was to stuff the demi-lich. Ooh, that sounds fun. Was to stuff the demi-lich into the bag of holding, since we got one free action. Then cut the bag. That's fun. That's a good way to delete a villain from existence. Am I allowed to ask a roleplay question, or is asking a question a Patreon thing? Hey, wild stick. That's a question. Pay up, says Andy. Don't listen to Andy. You don't have to pay up. You are more than welcome to ask a question here. This is open to all. If I had some sort of Patreon only thing, then I'd probably go in the I would make like a special Discord in the Patreon section of Discord and do a thing in there. This is open to any and all. If you appreciate it, you are welcome to join the Discord at any time or give us money in any way. And if not, I'm glad you're here and have fun. You have to have fun, though. That's a requirement. If you don't have fun, then bummer, I guess. I don't know. Still be here. Sounds like about metamagic crafting, says Custos. Crafting the bag of holding with one specific effect. Like it shoots them out like a cannon. Oh, gosh. Oh, I love it. By the way, Jesse, unrelated to everything, Monday morning, I got woken up at 6:30 a.m. to fireworks factory exploding 1 mile away from me. It was worse than an earthquake. That sounds wild. A fireworks factory? Like not a storage facility. Like not a fireworks selling building. But the place where they make the fireworks? Where they manufacture fireworks? Also, if you live 1 mile away from where they make them, do you get discounts? Can you just go in there and get firework discounts? Ooh, that's a good question. Okay, I've got a few questions. Oh no, I have these questions too. Oh my gosh, I should have spent so long in the bag of holding. I will add your question. We will get to it. Like an actual Simpsons firework factory. Oh my gosh. Meredith says mine can wait. Well, let's find out. Okay. This was from the secretly coded, I think it was Google Can Go Fuck Yourself, was secretly their name. It says, do you see any mechanical point to having mitigation layers like AC, damage reduction, and hit points? Or are they redundant and they're just for flavor? I think that's a great question because there are multiple answers. Maybe you could tell we also get sidetracked. Us? Never. We stayed on track. We had that we stayed on that bag of holding thing for so long. Fortunately, no one got hurt. Okay, I'm glad no one got hurt at the factory of the fireworks exploding. Just a few popped eardrums. Oh my gosh, it was oddly beautiful. It's beautiful. I bet a fireworks factory blowing up, I bet was very pretty. Laser focused. More like a cat with a laser pointer focused. Like, definitely focused, but like really bouncing around. They're functionally different, but it depends on the system. Merit D, that is part of the thing. What is the point of those things? Because I do think that depending on how the system is built, they will either be redundant and useless, or they will be incredibly important. So in a system like Savage Worlds, you have both damage reduction and a hit class, armor class thing, a target number to hit. The target number to hit is important because if you get a high enough number above that target number, you deal extra damage. So it pays to be more accurate with your shot or your hit, because then you potentially do more damage. So, like, there's a game of, and when you're building a character, those are based on different stats. And so, do you want to be better at being of soaking damage or getting missed? Or do you want to try and, like, keep them a little bit parallel and be decent at both? Like, how that is built into the system purposefully to have both of those and have both those matter. If you can remove one of them and it doesn't really change the game, that means it's redundant and it's just for flavor and it doesn't matter and it's just slowing you down. Where something like Cairn, however you pronounce that game, does not have AC. It only has, you have HP and you have armor that gives you damage reduction. If you try to hit anything or anything tries to hit you, you are assumed to succeed. And then there are systems that have like no damage reduction but do have a target number to hit. So I feel like the answer truly is like it depends. If the system is made for all of those to be factors that should play off of each other, then you should have all of them. And if the system is made to not have some of those or to not worry about some of those, then yeah, then that's how it should be done. So I don't think they are inherently bad. I think some systems don't do a good job at making them different or to make them matter in different ways. And then in that case, they are redundant. And it's like, or you're just doing it for flavor of like, oh, everybody knows AC because of D&D. So like my game has to have an AC. So I'll just add it. When really your game would have been better if you made it without an AC because you didn't care. Not in a bad way you didn't care, but like that's not what your game was about. So then like so in Cairn, like I've played horror settings with it, and I think that works really well because you have the assume hit. And like if you're talking to someone and they pull a gun on you first, you're the one getting shot. That makes negotiations more tense because you're like, I could pull a gun and shoot at them, but then even if I kill them, they might have some friends around that are going to be really mad and then immediately shoot me. Or if I wait and they pull the gun first, I'm going to get shot. So I think that's a fun thing to play with. So it is entirely based on how the game is made. Does that answer your question? I guess do you see a mechanical point to mitigation layers? The answer is yes, if there is an actual mechanical point. If there is not a mechanical point, then no. It's got to be made for it. Good answer. Agree wholeheartedly. Hey! All right, cool. So glad. Hey! Hey, Ruchikun. I don't know. I mean, you missed the live because maybe it just didn't send it out. sometimes that happens. But hey, good news. There's a VOD. And if you want to hear us talk about how a bag of holding works when you pull an item partway out of it, boy, you've got about an hour and 10 minutes of this to watch later that you'll really enjoy, hopefully. Deep saying also depends on the type of game everyone wants to play. Some people, all they care about is crunching numbers and min-maxing their build to get the most out of their AC and damage reduction and protection. Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, that's if it's the game you want to play, like, oh, I like crunching those numbers, cool. Damage reduction in 3.5 says Walk Talk was a pain in the ass to calculate. I totally agree. I don't think I ever played a game of 3.5 that used damage reduction, probably for that point, for that reason. I feel like if a system has reductive HP and target number to be hit, it could be called crunchy. I think if you have reduction HP and target number, it can still because Savage World has all three of those. They have damage reduction, they have AC or target number, and you have HP. I wouldn't call it crunchy, but also all of those numbers you're working with are fairly low numbers. Like if you have damage reduction 4, you're a sturdy person. So like, and your HP is going to be fairly low as well. So like, if you have like 100 HP and an AC of 30 and a damage reduction of 15, that's like, all right, yeah, you're gonna end up being crunchier just because you're dealing with bigger numbers. But I feel like you could have all those things and have a not crunchy game. But if you have all three, you are definitely leaning towards that direction if you're not there. Ooh, dodge. Active mitigation rules. Oh, man. Yeah, now you're talking. I know. Oh, Twitch won't send another notice if they start a second stream within X amount of the first stream. Oh. That was on YouTube. But that YouTube might do the same thing, Deebs. Yeah. Character builds. Player builds character with huge AC. DM cast fireball. Oh yeah. So that's another thing of having redundancies of like something that is a like, oh, you have an AC, but you also have a dex save and a con save and a charisma save, because you need ways to not just have everybody go, well, if I don't want to get hit, max AC and I win. By having all of these different things, you are providing different ways to attack your players and also giving the players different ways to attack you or your creatures. Because if you just have everything hits with AC, it doesn't matter if it's a spell, it doesn't matter if it's a fireball, it doesn't matter if it's a sword, it doesn't matter if it's a mind blast from migraine. Then like you're always just going off the same number and you can just buff that number to be tougher. Part of the fun is having different ways to interact with the system and with the world. So I think having multiple points also makes it more interesting. YouTube only allows 3 notifications a day, I think. Interesting. We might have already had. I think we'd only have 2 today. Is it 24-hour day? Because we do have like 18 streams on Wednesday. And so if it counts like the last 1 or 2 streams earlier on Wednesday, I don't know. I did see that, Talk. Thank you very much. I still have like 4 questions in front of that super chat. I think I'll do that super chat one next because it's on my screen. Then we'll get to some more questions. When I was a DM, I would always shoot arrows at the monks so they could deflect them. Also a good point. That's really good of you. When you know you have your player has something cool they want to use, you put them in a situation where they can use it. I think that's good. That's really cool. Deeb's saying the same thing. Great minds, Deeb's. Uh oh. So Paper Mario, perfect example of lots of factors but low numbers. I should play Paper Mario. Wretch could say oh, that's a good question. I'm gonna write that. I'm gonna copy that because I want to get to that because I think that's interesting. But boy, howdy, I have several questions. Okay, well, if that answers your question, we are gonna move to the next one because there are several. Wait. Oh, Gildan Yedick also had a question, so we're super chatting Gildan Yedick right now. Gildan Yedick, I don't know. Hi from the VOD. Whenever you find this, says been trying to get last arc or last act 1 of Baldur's Gate 3 without restarting again. I don't know why I thought it said restraining. The dyslexia is hard today. Again, and Man 5e is a mess. I kind of agree. Why clerics and will saving throws? Wisdom, conviction. Why paladins vows charisma, conviction. D20 swinginess, etc. The D20 swinginess is, yeah, I especially early level, the swing of a D20 in like 5e is just absurd. Because like, yeah, you get a +2 to your thing. It doesn't matter. The D20 is going to be determining whether it succeeds or failure. You have a +4. Okay, there's 4 numbers within that die roll where it'll affect. And all the other ones, that number means literally nothing. So yeah, that swinginess is bad. And yeah, Deep saying feels worse in video games. I agree. I think it does feel worse because I feel like there's a level of, I guess, expectation or like okayness with like, oh, in tabletop RPGs we can have a bit more swing and it's fine. I don't know why, but it feels that way. Where in video games it's like you could have just changed the numbers. Like, okay, I've only got D20s in my bag. I guess we're going to play a D20 system, but it's like you're a computer. You can do any sided die and weight it with anything mechanically, and you could do all that under the hood, and it could be the most complex math that is shown to me as being very simple. But you don't. And I feel like that's silly. It can be better. But yeah, I feel like the things with like a will saving throw or like a charisma saving throw, I feel like part of that is kind of what we talked about in the previous question, where it's giving you different ways to interact with something. But ultimately, it does feel kind of bad sometimes because if you want to play a paladin because of some mechanical flavor or like a background thing, it's like, well, then you better have charisma. And it's like, well, what if I want to play a low charisma paladin? Like, what if I want them to be awkward and weird? You're going to take a penalty. And like all of these things that are built on you being good at them, you're now bad at them and the game can't really work as well for you now. So it's giving, I think ultimately the reason for it is to say, do you want to play a cleric? Cool. This is the cleric path. We are making it easy for you because we don't want people to get confused. And I think that works pretty well for beginners. And I think it works well for people who like a set thing and want to keep doing it. But as soon as you want to stretch your creativity, as soon as you want to start thinking about things outside the box, it becomes a hurdle. And it becomes a problem. And that's why other games are so much fun. And why I think just like with video games, the best way to have fun with it is to play a variety of things. If you only played Mario games, you would be missing out on so many video games. and like different genres and that even simple things are handled, like how Paper Mario is an RPG versus Clair Obscura is an RPG. Like you just missed that if you were only playing Mario, and that's how I feel about D&D. That means you're just playing Mario. You're missing all the other things. There's a lot in that, but like it can't be everything. So I think it's there because it is thematic, it is easier for beginners, and there is a long history of, well, we've always done it this way, so we're going to keep doing it this way. For fear of backlash, for uh, paying tribute to the originals, and again, for just simplicity. They want it to be simple enough for people to pick up and play. And I think it is successful in some ways in that and has helped the hobby in a lot of ways, even if it is flawed in others. I don't know if that answered your question. I hope it does. If not, you know where I am. Just ask it again, or like ask it slightly different way, and then we'll talk about it. Because so help me, I'll talk about all sorts of things. But yeah, I think that's why. Also, Thousand Year Door, apparently very good. Cool. All right. We're going to go to the other super chat of the 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 fuck you Google. That's a quote, Google. Don't take away our YouTube account. Is saying, should the DM ever roll dice? I feel adversarial. It feels adversarial to me. So even in D&D, when I roll, I do not roll dice versus the player. I make an AC or a save. That's affected by luck. And any roll, and they roll their damage taken. There are systems in which, Cipher systems, one of them, the DM literally never rolls. Like that's part of the rules. Of you always just set a target number of 1 through 10, depending on how hard the challenge is, and then players roll, and they either succeed at that roll or they do not. Um, I I like personally. I think I want to roll as a DM. I feel like I'm missing out if I'm not throwing clacky math rocks, because I do want a level of swing on my end. I enjoy the fact as a player when I roll and it's like I might pass, I might fail. As a DM, I also very much enjoy that. So like I like systems that make the DM roll because that's just a thing I want to do. But you very easily could change systems so you don't roll. And if it does feel adversarial and you don't like it, then heck yeah, don't roll. You've got depending on what system you're running, so like we'll say Cipher system, you just have your 1 through 10 and you decide what challenge something should be. And if you when you're writing your stuff down, you can say, oh well, this is going to be a hard challenge, this is going to be a 7, oh, this will be easy, this will be a 4. And then on the fly you hear what a player wants to do and how they want to do it, and then you go, what's that challenge rating, what should that be? And then you say that, and then they try and use their abilities and their powers and whatever they have to make that as easy as possible. So like if that makes you feel better, you should absolutely play that way. If it feels adversarial to roll against them, don't. Set numbers, set hard numbers. You can fudge them a little if you want. Maybe not tell the players. And then that's the thing. You could also do damage average rolls if you don't want to roll those either, and you're playing a game that does damage as rolls. I again like rolling because sometimes I like the story of the enemy succeeds on the hit but only rolled a 1 damage, so it's like, ooh, how can I play that into the story? And it could be, oh, they fumbled and just kind of like just scraped you across the arm, But you could also roll it in a really cool way where they succeed, but they don't do much damage. And it's like they look you straight in the eye, go easily. They take their sword, they go easily around your block and just cut you right on the cheek. As like, that could have been your throat, but it wasn't. They're giving you a warning. That's a fun story beat. And that happens because you have a very successful enemy attack with a very low damage roll. That's fun. But not all games need to be that. So like, yeah, do it the way you want to. And also, if you want to play a game, there are games in which the DM do not roll. So like Cypher System's one of them. Look into those if you want to play it that way. Are you still here? And does that answer your question? Now I'll catch up on chat. Meredith D saying counter argument. Well, if the DM likes rolling dice, yeah. So that's where I am. I like rolling dice, so I want to, but. There's also a tension with saying that I'm going to try X and the DM nods and the dice roll. That's true at Cardine, but I feel like you still have that tension. As someone who plays Cypher System and like that has no rolls on the DM, that tension is still there. Because when that DM looks at me and goes, all right, that's an 8. Fuck, I didn't think it would be that hard. Like that's adding tension. Now I got to think about, am I going to spend XP to make this roll better? Am I going to spend effort to make this roll better? Like, what do I need to do? Or am I okay with failing it? So I think that tension can be there either way. Rolling dice just feels like gambling. Partially why I like gambling so much. Yeah, rolling dice is fun. Or DM just rolls dice randomly behind the screen. I love a random dice roll. Just like what was your do you have anything in your backstory about being really observant? Do you have any points in observation? No? Okay. Noted. And then you move on with your day. I love that kind of stuff. I will say I also love it when the DM does it to me. It's not oh, I love fucking with my players. It's like I also want to get fucked with. It's fun. Steve says two of my favorite things as a DM. Roll a die, apropos of nothing. Say nothing about it and continue. Ask a player to roll a random check. Say nothing. Oh, yeah. Just be like, hey, can you give me a D100 roll real fast? 48? Got it. No, it's fine. Just writing something down. What's everyone's passive perception? Oh, yeah, that's a great one. Love a passive perception question. Another one is like, what's your AC? What number do you think, how close do you think it needs to be that number before you'd even notice if something hit you? 5 away? Okay, good to know. Just ask that. Just ask that. See what happens. What's you prefer? Oh, Duke of Doom. That's a great question. I don't know. I might just be here all day. I don't know. I don't have my game today, but I do have to stop at some point because I think there's a podcast tonight, so they may have to shut me down at some point. Are those rolls real or just to inflate tension in the campaign? You know, either way. You could have something attacking the players and it hits so low that they don't notice it. It could be real. Maybe you just want to inflate tension. Who knows? How close do you get to the door? Yeah, what's marching order? Where exactly is everybody in order? Okay, good to know. Wait, did you say you tried to open the door? How did you grab the doorknob? Rolls dice. Yeah. Fire leak in 15 minutes. Oh shit, I gotta go. Um. Oh wait, I can't go yet because there's one more super chat from Ratchcoon with $2. It says heart for the mad myconoid artificer. This is the millennial heart? This is the Gen Z heart? I don't know how it works. Or there's this heart? Maybe this is alpha. This is I don't know. All hearts are great. On the subject of GM rolling dice, I recently started running Blades in the Dark. Yeah. God, I want to play Blades in the Dark. Found out having to worry about stats and dice on my side screen is immensely liberating. Heck yeah. That's great. Oh, Monster of the Week? Yeah, DM never rolls. I think most Powered by the Apocalypse, because I think Brindlewood Bay, I don't think the DM ever rolls anything. Let's cancel Firelink. Just do this. No. There's people who love Firelink, and they would be upset. And I don't want those people upset. I want them to enjoy Firelink. Summon index finger the sides of the heart is a K-pop thing. Oh, okay. This segment has quickly become my favorite segment stream, says Deshin. Aw. Thanks for work. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. I love doing this stream. I'm so glad y'all are here. Rule of cool. Rule of cool. Duke of Doom. Rule of cool's great. On the subject of GM rolling dice. Just read that one. Blades of the Dark. Yes. Good. Random dice to F with your players. It's a ton of fun. Yeah, it is. Theoretically, you could keep running on Twitch. I guess that's true, but I would have to stop and then redo something. I don't know. If I stop, I'm just going to stop. Aw. Thanks, Deeps. Glad you love it, too. All right. If that answers your question, let me know. If not, let me know. And thanks for the... And Rutchakun? Thanks for the super chat for hearts for the mad myconoid artificer. Wow, I didn't expect that to be a tongue twister, and it sure was. Yeah, we had a bunch of other questions. Oh no. These were all good questions too. We're gonna have to pick these up later. Because I do have to stop so Firelink can start, and they gotta like get everything started on that end. So if no one has yelled at me yet. Oh, I just got like 3 minutes ago. I got a message from Marty. It was like, "Hey, can you start wrapping this up? We got to do the pod." All right. If you want to stick around for Firelink, they'll be coming on in like 14 minutes. So thank you all for being here. Always an absolute delight. I will be back next week, 4:30 Eastern, same time as this week, with a guest. Moon's coming back, so I'm very excited. Sports out for Grinderbin. Whoop, whoop. Open and close your umbrella for Grinderbin. Oh, that's another thing. If you could have a bag of holding with an umbrella with like a 100-foot radius umbrella head, but because it's in the bag of holding, it weighs nothing. And you just have an extremely dry area. If that's how you make the bag of holding work. I'm out of here. Bye, everybody. Bye, have fun.